West Pakistan, the Pathan belt, northeast Iran, the whole of Afghanistan, and the territory north of Afghanistan. But clearly Afghanistan is in the heart of Khorasan. No. This territory has one thing distinctive about it, that Europe could never colonize the heart of Khorasan. The British tried when Britain was the ruling state in the world, and the British failed. And then the Russians tried when they had the superpower, the Soviet Union. And after 12 years, the Russians failed. And guess who is trying now? Yes. The war in Khorasan has just begun, Mr. Bush. It has just begun. On that day, when Islam liberates Afghanistan, I believe it is that army which will be unstoppable until it reaches Jerusalem.
كالشمس كانت.
Writings of the Promised Messiah, alayhi salam. Remember that no one will descend from heaven. All our opponents who are alive today will die, and no one will see Jesus, son of Mary, descending from heaven. Then their next generation will pass away, and no one of them will see this spectacle. Then the generation next after that will pass away without seeing the Son of Mary descending from heaven. Then God will make them anxious that though the time of the supremacy of the cross had passed away and the world had undergone great changes, yet the Son of Mary had not descended from heaven. Then wise people will suddenly discard this belief. The 3rd century after today will not yet have come to a close, when those who hold this belief, whether Muslims or Christians, will lose all hope and will give up this belief in disgust. There will then be only one religion that will prevail in the world, and only one leader. I have come only to sow the seed, which has been sown by my hand. Now it will sprout and grow and flourish, and no one can arrest its growth.
فترى كتاب الله مفهوم الروائع والدرر.
I will, God willing, always continue to carry out my task and my responsibilities of promoting peace, tolerance, justice and compassion to the corners of the world. I will continue to tell all people that in order to be relieved of the pain and suffering that we face today, we must adopt true justice and equality.
There have been many movements, conferences, organizations and NGOs all over the world that promote the idea of world peace, but peace on earth has continued to be just an aspiration. Khilafat Ahmadiyya is the heavenly institution that was prophesied by the peace-loving Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. History has shown that whenever the world suffers disorder and injustice, a spiritually guided man stands up and advises the world on how to achieve peace through the heavenly teachings of Islam. The world faced near total destruction during World War II, when 60 million people lost their lives. This was a type of devastation the world had never seen before. During that time, the second Caliph, Hazrat Mirza Bashiruddin Mahmud Ahmad Raziyallahu Ta'ala Anhu, delivered a Friday sermon and said,
"This is such a disaster that from a war's perspective, it may be acceptable. But as far as humanity is concerned, such bombardment of the cities cannot be considered legitimate. There have always been wars, and there have always been animosities. But there had always been a limit that could not be crossed. Who can say that women and children were not living in the city that was bombarded? And who can say that the women and children were responsible for the war? Even if the young women are held responsible, even then the underage girls and boys are not considered to be responsible for the war. So even though our voices are unheard, this is our religious and moral duty, that we stand in front of the world and announce that such bloodshed is not lawful, whether the government feels good or bad about our announcement.
The same message of spreading peace has been inherited in the 5th Khilafat. As soon as Hazrat Mirza Masroor Ahmad was elected as the 5th successor of the promised Messiah ﷺ, he began his efforts to work for world peace. The platform for peace was set in 2004 when Huzur launched the annual National Peace Symposium. 5 years later, the goal to attain peace was set even higher with the launch of the Ahmadiyya Muslim Prize for the Advancement of Peace in 2009. Huzur has fearlessly addressed the Islamic solution to peace around the world, from Canada to Australia, from Capitol Hill to the British House of Commons, from the European Parliament to the Montage in Beverly Hills, and from Nagoya, Japan to Valencia in Spain. His addresses have been received with warmth and admiration from all parts of the world. To this day, Huzur has visited numerous different countries and given lectures to promote peace. One of the momentous occasions was in May 2012, when Hazrat Khalifatul Masih V, may Allah be his helper, delivered the address about Islam's teachings of loyalty and love for one's nation at the German military headquarters.
Humanity First, the international aid and disaster relief charity conceived by the 4th Caliph of the Ahmadiyya Muslim community, Hazrat Mirza Tahir Ahmad, may Allah have mercy on him, has opened its new international headquarters in Surbiton near London. The worldwide head of the Ahmadiyya Muslim community, Hazrat Mirza Masroor Ahmad, may Allah strengthen his hands, inaugurated the new headquarters by unveiling the plaque of the new site and offering congregational prayers with those present. The international chairman of Humanity First, Sayyid Ahmad Yahya, the chairman of Humanity First USA, and chairman of Humanity First Canada were among those who welcomed His Holiness.
Those who love God love His creation, and their love does not remain confined to their lips or their minds. It is a love put into action. This love is for all. It does not discriminate. Just as the bounties of God have blessed all the people of the earth, the servants of God spread their efforts and energies helping people throughout the world. Love God by loving His creation. Serve God by serving His creation. The greatest exemplar of these efforts was indeed Muhammad, described in the Quran as being sent as a mercy for all the peoples of the world. The work of Humanity First is based on these fundamental principles enunciated by the Holy Prophet of Islam. From near to far, wherever disaster strikes, Humanity First tries to help. From Hurricane Katrina and Sandy, devastating our own shores and cities, to seemingly faraway earthquakes and to tsunamis in Pakistan, Indonesia, Humanity First leverages its strong volunteer force on the ground to make a difference. From Ghana to Guatemala, Humanity First volunteers provide medical services unavailable in remote locations. Traveling for days, patients come for life-changing surgeries, a new chance to see, and expertise and caring needed by all patients. But in some places, even medicine is a luxury. Simple, clean water is miles away. Here, wells are drilled and refurbished, providing a clean, accessible source to water. The work of Humanity First continues, based on the values and morals of Muhammad, serving God by serving mankind.